All right, get ready because we're about to do a deep dive on the latest Dungeon Crawler Carl book, This Inevitable Ruin.
The seventh book already.
Oh yeah, seventh one. Our listener's prepping for a book club discussion on this and wants to, sound really smart.
I can understand that.
So today, we're not just gonna scratch the surface of the plot. We're going deep, right? Like,
Absolutely.
how does this book connect to the whole Dungeon Crawler Carl universe?
Yeah.
What kind of big ideas is Dinniman using this world to explore?
It's really fascinating, I think, how he uses something as crazy as dungeon crawling, but makes it about our own anxieties and, problems.
Right. Like, think about Carl. He
Yeah.
went from this average guy trying to just survive in a dungeon to facing decisions that could wipe out entire civilizations.
Yeah.
Remember that whole temporal accord crisis?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Trying to keep all the dimensions from collapsing on each other?
Mm-hmm.
Carl's choices now have huge consequences for him. It's got to be so much pressure for him.
It's like he's gone from playing a video game to being responsible for the whole code.
Right.
And it really reflects, I think, some of the anxieties we have in the real world about technology and the consequences of what we do. Like, do we really understand the power we have? What happens if we make a mistake on a global scale, or in this case, a multiversal scale?
Yeah. And he's not like some superhero, taking it all in stride.
Right.
We see his struggles, his nightmares, his doubts. It's just human. Like, how would you react if you were in his shoes?
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy to think about.
It really makes you consider the impact of every choice you make, right? Like, in a world where everything is connected, who knows what ripple effects we're setting off just by, living our lives.
Dinniman really makes you think about those big questions.
He does.
Okay, so we've got Carl dealing with these huge decisions, and then there's the world itself, which is just insane. We've got the shattered expanse where reality is breaking apart and putting itself back together based on quantum physics.
Right.
Then you've got the Aben Spire, which exists in multiple dimensions at the same time.
It really is mind-boggling. But these aren't just cool settings, right?
Right.
They actually affect the characters and the story in really interesting ways. Like, magic works differently, the laws of physics are unpredictable. It's like he's rewritten the rules of reality.
And speaking of rewriting reality, what about those memory markets? People literally selling experiences from other dimensions. That's so wild. Makes you think about how we value experiences in our own lives and how they could be bought and sold. Are we just chasing those Instagrammable moments,
It's really a commentary on our obsession with experiences and how the lines between real and fake are getting blurred. Think about it. Do you ever feel like your own experiences are becoming like a commodity?
Well, yeah, I see what you mean. It's like Dinniman is holding up a mirror to society. And then it makes you wonder about the stories we tell ourselves about our experiences, right?
Yeah.
Are they real or are they just curated for other people to see?
That's a good point. And that idea of stories having actual weight, like impacting reality, that's a big part of this book. Dinniman plays with the idea that stories can actually shape events.
It's a trippy concept, but it totally works in this crazy multiversal story.
And it makes you wonder, right? If stories have that kind of power, what responsibility do we have as storytellers? What kind of reality are we creating with the things we say and do?
Man, that's heavy stuff. And we've only scratched the surface of what Dinniman's doing in this book. He's blending all these big ideas with amazing world building and characters you really care about.
He's really outdone himself with this one. It's amazing.
Yeah, but it's not all doom and gloom, right?
Yeah.
One of the things I love about Dinniman is how he can balance those serious themes with his, signature humor.
Absolutely. It's like a spoonful of sugar to help the existential dread go down.
Exactly. So we've talked about Carl's transformation, the mind-blowing world building, and Dinniman's ability to mix humor with some really thought-provoking themes.
We've only just scratched the surface, though. There's so much more to uncover about the politics, the moral dilemmas, and the way Dinniman is messing with the way he tells the story.
Oh yeah, we're just getting started. Get ready, because we're going to go even deeper in the next part of our deep dive. This book club discussion is going to be epic.
Back into the multiverse we go.
And I am so ready for more.
We were talking about Dinniman and how he does that humor thing, right?
Yeah, he can make you think about huge ideas, but still make you laugh.
Keeps things light.
Right,
Up.
especially when you're dealing with, collapsing dimensions.
The end of reality.
And it doesn't feel forced,
Oh, absolutely.
Makes it all feel real.
Right.
And let's be honest, the action is amazing.
Oh, yeah.
Those battles in these crazy places, it's like watching a movie in your head.
It really is. And those descriptions make the impossible almost believable. The
Right.
way he describes the shifting landscapes and the physics of it all.
And speaking of shifting landscapes, the whole structure of the story in this book is so different from his other stuff.
Yeah, it's really innovative, I think.
It's like he's invented this whole quantum storytelling thing.
That's a great way to put it.
Instead of just going in a straight line, the story's all over the place, like events happening in different dimensions all at the same time.
And those dimensions are like bleeding into each other.
It's crazy.
But it works so well.
It doesn't feel like a gimmick at all.
Right.
Like, remember those chapters where we see the same event, but from different perspectives?
Oh, yeah.
Each one is a little messed up because of the dimensional stuff, and we have to figure out what really happened.
It's like a puzzle, but the pieces keep changing.
It keeps you guessing.
Absolutely.
Like, who to trust, what actually
Just
happened.
be on your toes.
Totally. And then just when you think you've got it figured out, bam, another twist.
He loves to do that.
It makes you question everything you thought you knew.
And that unreliable narrator, that really makes things interesting. It's like, even reality isn't reliable.
Exactly.
You can't take anything for granted.
So much to discuss.
I know, right?
This is going to make for some really interesting book club conversations.
But like, you can't just sit back and read this book.
You have to be involved.
You have to figure things out for yourself.
Participate in this story.
Okay, but here's what I think is really cool.
What's that?
It's not just the plot or the world that's gotten more complicated.
Oh, I see what you mean.
Dinniman's writing itself is on another level.
I agree.
Like, it's richer, more layered.
It's like he's gone from just writing a story to creating art.
Right. He's leveled up.
For sure.
Like how he describes the resonance cascade. It's this big scientific idea.
Right.
But he uses these really cool metaphors that make it both scary and beautiful at the same time.
You can really picture it, can't you?
Oh, yeah. Like realities colliding like liquid glass, creating rainbows of, possibilities and destruction.
And those little things he keeps using, like the shattered mirror.
Oh, yeah, the motif. They add so much meaning to everything.
It's not just decoration.
No, they represent bigger ideas, like the breaking apart of identity.
It makes you think about how who you are is shaped by the world around you and what happens when that world breaks.
Exactly.
And the dialogue, too, it's so much better than in the earlier books.
Yeah, it's not just explaining things anymore.
It's like every conversation has a hidden meaning.
So much subtext.
Threats and promises.
Like a game of chess.
It's amazing.
Especially in those Council of Realities scenes.
Right.
So much going on beneath the surface.
You have to pay attention to every word.
You might need a whiteboard to keep track of all the factions and their motives.
Seriously. But even with all of this stuff going on, Dinniman never loses sight of the characters.
That's true.
They're still real people with flaws and hopes and dreams.
They're just dealing with a lot more.
like it's the apocalypse.
The end of everything.
But their stories still matter.
Absolutely.
And I think that's what makes this book so good.
It's not just about saving the world.
It's about people.
Their struggles, their triumphs.
It reminds us that even when everything is falling apart, the human story still matters.
I think that's what will resonate with your book club the most.
Yeah, they'll love the world and the crazy ideas.
But it's the characters that will stay with them.
The characters make us care about what happens to this crazy multidimensional world.
Because we connect with their struggles.
We see ourselves in them.
And through them, we can explore those big questions Dinniman is asking about the universe, about reality, about the power of stories.
Yeah, it makes you think about your own life in a whole new way.
So we've talked about how Dinniman's writing has changed. His use of symbolism, his ability to blend humor and serious stuff, all while creating these amazing characters. What else can we dig into for our listener?
Wow, we've covered a lot, haven't we? From Carl's journey to Dinniman's world and all the big ideas he's throwing at us.
It's a lot to process.
It really is. And, thinking about how much this series has changed makes me wonder about, its impact on the fantasy world.
Yeah, like where does this book fit in with all the other great fantasy books out there?
Exactly. What kind of mark will it leave?
Well, I think This Inevitable Ruin really cements Dinniman as a true innovator in fantasy.
Yeah.
He's not just writing fun stories, he's pushing the boundaries of what fantasy can be.
When you say pushing the boundaries, what do you mean exactly?
Well, think about that quantum storytelling thing we were talking about.
Yeah.
It's really revolutionary the way he's weaving together events from different dimensions, using unreliable narration because of those dimensional distortions. We haven't really seen anything like this before.
Yeah, and it makes you work as a reader.
Right.
Like you're constantly trying to figure out what's real, piecing together the story from all these broken perspectives.
It's a challenge.
But so worth it.
I think it shows that readers want more from their stories now. They want to be challenged.
Yeah, we don't just want to be entertained anymore.
We want to be a part of the story to figure things out for ourselves.
And Dinniman totally gets that.
Oh, absolutely.
Do you think this quantum storytelling thing will catch on?
I think it could be really influential. Readers are getting more sophisticated. They want stories that reflect how complex the world is.
Right.
And Dinniman's leading the way. I wouldn't be surprised if other authors start trying similar stuff.
Imagine what book clubs will be like in 10 years.
I know, right?
But it's not just the way he tells the story, right?
Right.
There's so much depth to the ideas in This Inevitable Ruin that sets it apart from other fantasy books.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, he's not afraid to tackle those really big questions about reality, technology, the consequences of what we do.
It makes you think.
What does it even mean to be human in a world that's constantly changing, where right and wrong are so blurry?
Exactly.
It's like he's taken that classic hero's journey and flipped it on its head.
Yeah.
Carl's not just fighting monsters, he's struggling with impossible choices, questioning everything he believes.
Trying to find his place in a universe where the rules keep changing.
I think we can all relate to that in some way.
Oh, for sure.
And that's what makes this book so powerful.
Even though it's set in this crazy multidimensional world, it's really about us.
Yeah.
Our anxieties, our uncertainties.
Dinniman's making us face the tough questions we usually try to avoid.
And he's doing it in a way that's both fun and thought-provoking.
So, if someone's never read Dungeon Crawler Carl before, what would you tell them to convince them to give it a shot?
I'd say buckle up. It's a wild ride. It starts as this fun, action-packed dungeon crawl, but it becomes something much bigger, a story about growing, changing, and how human connection matters, even when everything's falling apart.
I love that.
It's a story that will stick with you.
And to our listener getting ready for that book club, I think you're all set to impress everyone.
Yeah, you've got this.
We talked about Carl's journey, Dinniman's world, the way he tells the story, all the big ideas he's exploring.
You've got the big picture and the little details.
You're practically an expert now.
Don't just focus on the facts, though. Share what you thought about this story. What parts resonated with you? What questions it made you ask?
That's what will get people talking.
Exact.
And most importantly, have fun. This is a book to be enjoyed, debated, discussed.
Spread the Dungeon Crawler Carl love.
You're going to rock that book club.
And if you walk away from this book thinking about the nature of reality or the power of stories, well, Dinniman's done his job.
He's planted a seed.
And now it's up to you to see what grows.
This has been so much fun.
I agree.
And to all our listeners out there, keep exploring those multiverses, keep those deep dives going, and keep those book club discussions lively.
We'll catch you next time.
See you then.